Good morning, guys. David Feldman-Makrias here. Well, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is when you're watching this. So today what we're going to talk about is my preferred Google Ads column order and why. So right now I'm in a Google Ads account. This will be a quick win video today, but I'm specifically looking at an e-commerce client, okay? So generating conversion value or revenue is really the most important thing. So this is the main report I like to look at. It's really the campaign dashboard, the campaign homepage. I have my list of campaigns here. And with certain clients, I have some filtering. I can't quite show the filtering because that would give away some information of this client. However, I do like to look at all of the different campaigns all in one, right? Because that's how I can associate revenue being driven for the actual business. And then as I analyze and get into certain things, I'll analyze certain campaigns. So it's almost like a complete dashboard that I can just go in, look really quickly, see what's going on, and then go to individual dashboards from there. So let's walk through my column order and exactly what it means. A couple of the columns are locked. If you are familiar with Google Ads, you might already know this. You have budget and status, right? That's locked. Now, I don't remember if optimization score is locked as well, but that's one of the first ones I put because, again, I like to keep up with the recommendations, even if it's just clearing them out because they don't really mean anything. A lot of the times, if they don't actually mean something that we should adjust for the actual campaigns. So optimization score is next, followed by bid strategy. I feel like bid strategy was one of the most important items for the campaign because it basically, especially with the smart bid strategies available in all of Google's machine learning, it actually tells us exactly how the campaign is bidding and utilizing its budget. So a couple of campaigns have maximized conversion value with no TROAS. Other ones do have maximized conversion value with just TROAS. Note too that certain campaigns have both maximized conversion value and TROAS, or just TROAS, depending upon the campaign type. Like the shopping campaign indicated by this little shopping tag just has a TROAS, whereas the search campaign, the experimental test I'm doing, has a maximized conversion value target ROAS. So those are like two different things, even though they're very, very close. So that's just kind of the locked columns, but let's keep moving forward. This is where the real meat and potatoes is. First off, I look at conversion value, okay? And I usually always do a time range comparison, whether it's month over month or year over year. It's usually a month to date through yesterday versus a previous month to date through yesterday or versus a previous year month to date through yesterday. I like to have full analysis of each day, and that's why I don't compare today because today's not over. So conversion value is number one. Why? Because that's the main revenue goal we're going after for e-commerce, right? Let's drive conversion value, revenue. Conversion value by conversion time, I've used more often, and I don't use it all the time because it doesn't exactly play into conversion value over cost, which is return on ad spend, which is one of the main metrics I use. However, it is pretty relevant to see, especially side by side, some of the differences, right? So conversion value, I have a whole video about definitions, and you can go into that. It's Google Ads best metrics to use for 2023, and I go through and define everything. But conversion value and conversion value by conversion time, conversion value tracks it by when the person clicks the ad versus conversion value by conversion time is when the actual conversion happened, okay? Two different ways to attribute revenue. And notice that for this client, there is some differences. You have $2,000 difference here, $9,000 difference here, no difference here, $2,000 difference here, so on and so forth. So if I go all the way to the bottom, I see that there is it looks like a $15,000 difference between these two metrics. And it's just good to know that there is that difference. Next, I have cost, right? Cost, super important. How much did each campaign cost? That's usually what the budgeting tool is referenced to, so on and so forth. And then we have return on ad spend. So it's really conversion value over cost. So I keep everything in this row. This is like my revenue row, right? And my return row. And then I have target return on ad spend because then I can see, is my return actually meeting my return on ad spend goal? If I have one, I don't always have one. Some campaigns I have a CPA goal, or some campaigns I have maximized conversion value and I don't have any return on ad spend goal. So now we get into some other metrics here. Value per conversion. I just think it's kind of interesting to know. I don't really use this metric a lot because it's not super insightful, but it's basically how much one conversion is worth to the business, right? One sale is worth to the business in each campaign. So you can see each sale and have an average all the way at the bottom. Conversions. Yeah, definitely have to have conversions in the top, right? That way I can compare year over year, month over month. I'm tracking conversions, actions such as purchases, add to carts, and then begin checkouts. Those are like the top three I would start with if you're in e-commerce. I also am looking at conversions by conversion time. Same reasoning with the conversion value situation. And then, of course, if I have a TCPA, that's really the bidding strategy that goes with conversions, target cost per acquisition. If I have it, I include it in this column so I can see, am I meeting this? Look at this one, this campaign. This search campaign is almost exact my cost per conversion. So maybe that tells me maybe I can tweak some things to actually get that cost per acquisition lower, so on and so forth. So that's why I have that there. Then after we get it out of the revenue and the budgets and the conversions, because those are like my meat and potatoes, right? Then we're going to get into some of the more ancillary metrics that tell me, I still think it's important to have, and they help diagnosing issues with campaigns, but they're not necessarily, I mean, they're vanity metrics in sense. I don't really talk about them at length with clients, but they're still good to know for me to see, especially if I see something that's off. So conversion rate, like what's my average conversion rate? I used to have clicks, but now I have interactions. Interactions is basically a click, or it's any interaction associated with the main ad format or main campaign. So a search campaign would be click, but Performance Max, with the introduction of that campaign, that could be views, that could be engagements, so on and so forth. And it actually is nice because it defines what each one of them is. Okay, Blur Tool, I hope you actually stay there this time. So, what were we talking about? Conversion rate. Again, vanity metrics, interactions. It's important to note, includes clicks, engagements, and views. Average cost, because I want to know what the average cost is of each click or engagement or view. Impressions, great metric to use for diagnosing campaigns. Not something I regularly am adamant about, but it's good for like a roll up report. Interaction rate, that's again, it's very similar to a click through rate, right? So if there's an impression and then there's a click, how many clicks are there compared to each impression? It's the same thing, but it encompasses all the different interactions rather than just a click. I like to see phone calls. And then I have some other ones too. All changes. Are there any changes that happened with these campaigns in the last so many days? There aren't in this time frame, which is actually not true. But I need to look into all changes. I assume that all changes would show me any changes there was. So maybe I have my filters set up incorrectly. Campaign ID I use just for nomenclature if I'm going to export a report or I need to send something to a Google Ads rep or something like that. That's important to include. And then finally, I like to include the impression share metrics at the end, specifically search impression share and search top IS. Absolute top IS I really don't use because I don't really believe in the philosophy of owning the number one position all of the time. I think it shows diminishing returns. But it's important to know how much you're on the board. It's also important to know how much you're at the top because that's where 70, 80% of traffic is going to view you or interact with your ad at. And then what is my search loss top IS to rank and loss top IS to budget? How much am I losing to each? That is my main campaign dashboard. It's very, very good at diagnosing things and giving me a quick update on how campaigns are performing. I'm curious to see what you guys think and what other columns you'd like to have in your overall report. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.